first point to note is that for us to be able to successfully succeed, and I just want to go back to the statement that I made earlier, we must accept that we have to first and foremost design a social contract with our people that best fits our particular circumstance, and to acknowledge that standard democracy in a time of growing nationalism and ethnic tensions, we need to be able to look at that from a different angle. And that's why we're saying, for example, democracy first past the post in Kenya has proved to be not only not unsuccessful but unsustainable. And that is why we're trying to engage each other to see how we can come up with a social contract that always allows for inclusivity, so that there are no groups or regions that feel left out. That social political stability is fundamental for us to grow a sustainable development path, or a sustainable economic path with sustainable and progressive growth. And if you look at some of the crises that you're seeing emerging in different parts of the country, is that we looked at their economies, but once the political factors kicked in, they're struggling. We in Kenya want to flip that over. We want to say that yes, we are interested in economic development, economic growth, but we, more importantly, want to fix the social political contract, because that is the foundation that presents future stability. So our key focus, number one, is that. And that's why we're also saying we want to now begin engaging the world on that basis. That is why we're saying there was a time, especially when our countries were being founded, where the American principle and love for freedom and democracy saw you grant a lot of support to those of us who were struggling and fighting against colonialism and for our independence. And thereafter, very strong support for our economic agenda. A lot of the companies that first set foot in independent Africa were largely American companies that saw themselves, coming through. We want to again renew that contract and to recognize that, yes, if we want sustainable economies, we need to be able to do so not just depending on the public sector, which puts strains and stresses on our budgets and so forth, but to re-engage once again with the private sector. And that is why I'm saying there is huge scope for great returns, right? Especially here in America, as populations age, right? You want better returns for your pensions. You want better returns, and there can be no better place for that investment than in Africa. And that investment also then in turn helps us achieve the key pillars that we want to achieve for our people: housing, job security, food security, right? And health for a younger, growing population that also serves as a humongous market opportunity for American goods and services. That is your new growth horizon. So we're here, first and foremost, to strengthen that partnership between our two governments, as you have said, that has been elevated to a higher level, but with a clear understanding that for us to be able to achieve our economic agenda, maintain the growth rates that we want to deepen our partnership with private sector by granting them opportunities for them to be able to come in, help us achieve the key priorities that we need, but also give great and ample return for the investments that they themselves are making. As a country, we are very keen to seeing a deepening of the trade between our two countries. And I don't believe that a deepening of trade between our two nations threatens anything. You know, we've always got to remember that as a continent, we are not homogeneous. We're not all at the same level of development. We have the same aspirations, but we are at different places in terms of where our respective economies are. And what we are saying as Kenya, right, is that some are more ready than others to begin this process. And I don't believe that this process should be looked at as a process of Kenya breaking away, but rather Kenya taking a first step and trying to navigate through that process of deepening engagements outside of the African continent, that ultimately tomorrow can become learning steps and make the process easier for others of the African continent. So it's not that we're breaking away. We're saying Kenya wants to be a pace setter, right? If you remember last year when we broke the 2-hour marathon, yeah? Kipchoge succeeded, right? Because he had pace setters, right? So all we're saying is that Kenya wants to be a pace setter, right? And just set the ball rolling and set the path so that, you know, others will go again. So I am completely not on that page of that we are breaking up. We are definitely not breaking away. Kenya has no intention whatsoever, being one of the first countries on the African continent, not only to sign, but to ratify the Africa Free Trade Agreement. So 40% of our own trade as a country is with our region. So we recognize the importance of maintaining regional integration and regional trade. But we're saying that, you know, others should also say that if Kenya is actually ready, yeah, and others may not be as ready, yeah, let us be the pace setters. We would be more than happy to work and to collaborate with our African diaspora who are doing business in here, especially those who wish to set up, as the example that you have given, industries or businesses that are geared towards the promotion of African products into the United States. I hear what you're doing for coffee farmers in Ethiopia. We have in Minnesota some Kenyans who live there who are also doing the same for African coffee, you know, out there as well. So we would be more than happy. You understand this market better than we do. You understand the African continent. We would be more than willing to partner and work together to help you grow your businesses, because by growing your businesses, you're also helping us grow our trade with the United States and supporting our farmers in the same process. 2025 is around the corner, and there are no indications that there will be another AGOA, so we must prepare ourselves. And what Kenya is doing is preparing herself for that future. As you well know, through that particular process of AGOA, we've managed to grow our business tremendously. We now have almost 100,000 Kenyans who are employed thanks to AGOA. And it's been growing year on year on year. But we wanted to even go the next to the next step, and it can't be hinged on uncertainty. It must be some certainty, and I think the African Council can play a tremendous role, in helping American companies especially focus themselves on the key areas. If it's the health sector and medical equipment, the areas where America is far outperforms companies from any other part of the world. And those are areas that we would like you to deepen through Kenya, your partnership. You also understand what we have been able to produce, if it's in the textile industries and etc. How again can we create those ties between American firms and Kenyan firms that are involved in these various businesses? So for us, the council continues to be a critical, and I hope will continue to be a critical partner in helping us achieve our objectives. My friend, climate change is real. We are very clear on that, and I was telling some people yesterday, we are here now in January. You say you know Africa very well. You're two gentlemen sitting side by side. You know it very well. This is our driest month of the year, ordinarily. It now happens to be the wettest month that we have ever experienced, and this is the reason we're having, all the locusts, etc., because climate change is real. And we in Kenya have made our position, very clear on that. We have been in the forefront of trying to get anybody who will listen, to understand that. We participate in all forums, but at the end of the day, our mouth may not necessarily be as big as our pockets. We just need the whole world to come together and pull from the same wavelength. We need the world to come together on this, because at the end of the day, it's the world that's going to suffer. It's not just going to be Africa. It's not just going to be Kenya. And we're not going to win this war individually. It must be a collective battle if we are to succeed, and if we are to stop these tremendously negative impact